Did anyone survive this EF4 nightmare?
Midnight, Tennessee. A town asleep, with a monster racing toward it.
They never heard it coming. No roar coming.
In seconds, an EF3 slashed across Nashville. Then its parent supercell set its sights on Cookeville. A half-mile wide EF4, forming in the dark, faster than warnings could ever catch.
In less than a minute, 19 lives gone. Entire neighborhoods erased.
Midnight, March 3rd, 2020, Cookeville, Tennessee. A quiet college town lies under a calm, early spring sky. The streets are empty, homes dark. The foothills of the Cumberland Plateau remain still. Unaware that a disaster is racing toward them from the west, they never saw it coming. No roar, no warning, only silence. Then, a force so violent it tore homes from their foundations. In under a minute, a peaceful neighborhood became unrecognizable. Families slept, children rested, and a monster stronger than steel carved through everything they cherished. This wasn't just a tornado. It was an EF4 nightmare, unleashed while the world was defenseless. And tonight, Caliber X takes you inside the storm that changed everything. 70 miles to the west, chaos unfolds. Sophie, look, there's a tornado. Right there. Oh my God. Downtown Nashville is under siege. A nocturnal tornado slashes through one of the most densely populated areas of the city, crossing the Cumberland River into East Nashville and leaving a trail of EF3 destruction. Trees are uprooted, vehicles tossed, buildings shredded. For those on the streets, the wind sounds like freight trains tearing across the city, but the storm the parent supercells, relentless, racing east at highway speeds toward college.
By 1:47 a.m., initial rotation was defected, but for Cookeville, it was only beginning.
Radar detected rotation increasing, a sign that a second tornado could form at any moment.
While all eyes were on Nashville, Cookeville was hit even harder. This wasn't a storm, it was an ambush.
The rotation intensified, forming a dark, twisting funnel in the distance.
At 1:48 a.m., a tornado spawned by the Nashville supercell touches down on Thompson Ridge, just west of Cookeville. Over the next 8 minutes, the western suburbs face a half-mile wide EF4 monster. Entire neighborhoods are obliterated in seconds as winds exceed 60 miles per hour. And just as quickly as it appeared, the tornado lifts, disappearing south of Tennessee Tech, narrowly sparing downtown. By the time daylight breaks, the scale of the destruction becomes horrifyingly clear. Less than 10 miles traveled, yet nearly 200 homes destroyed. 19 lives lost, nearly 100 more injured. How could a tornado so brief inflict such extraordinary devastation? The answer lies in a perfect storm of factors: atmospheric complexity, nighttime timing, minimal warnings, and structural vulnerabilities. The weather system was extraordinarily complicated. At the upper levels, strong westerly winds dominated the atmosphere, though without the typical trough shape that triggers tornado outbreaks. Surface conditions were uncertain. A cold front stretched across the continent, tied to a deep low over northern Ontario. Meanwhile, a localized low along the southern Illinois border drew a warm front over central Tennessee, funneling moist, unstable air northward. The biggest unknown was the atmospheric kappa layer of warm air suppressing convection. During the day, this cap prevented storms from forming. Only after dark, when the low-level jet intensified, could severe storms develop. Forecast models gave conflicting predictions. Confidence in the forecasts grew only late, triggering a 15% hail risk and a 5% tornado risk further west. But Cookeville remained outside the primary threat zone. At 11 p.m., supercell formed north of Jackson, Tennessee. A highly targeted tornado watch was issued for Nashville and counties to the west. Over the next several hours, this storm produced multiple tornadoes, including the EF4 that tore through Nashville. Sophie, witnessing the chaos from her apartment, could barely comprehend the destruction around her. Lights flashed, sirens blared, debris flew past buildings she had walked along just hours earlier as the storm pushed east. It moved beyond both the tornado watch boundaries and the Storm Prediction Center's 2% tornado risk zone. Cookeville remained officially safe, even as the atmosphere over the town shifted dramatically. The low-level jet strengthened, generating extreme helicity, near 500 square meters per second squared a textbook high shear. Low Cape environment, ideal for nocturnal tornadoes. At 1:48 a.m., the Cookeville tornado touched down roughly 8 miles west of the city near Baxter. Initial damage was minor EF4, but intensity escalated rapidly as it approached the western suburbs. Within minutes, the tornado reached EF4 intensity, tearing through a mile-long stretch of residential neighborhoods. Homes were reduced to slabs. Walls and roofs vanished. Well-anchored CMU block foundations failed under extreme wind pressure, leaving interior rooms normally the safest, yet spaces uninhabitable. Aerial imagery at first light revealed the full extent of destruction. Homes shredded, vehicles tossed like toys, walkway pavers lifted, and entire subfloors displaced. 23 structures were rated EF4, 17 with no above-ground walls remaining. Warnings arrived too late. The National Weather Service issued the tornado warning at 1:48 a.m., the exact moment the tornado touched down. Many residents had only minutes, if any, to react. Cookeville had gone to bed under a marginal risk, outside the 2% tornado contour. Nighttime tornadoes, silent and unpredictable, left residents with virtually no chance. Fatalities averaged just 4.8 minutes of warning, compared to the national average of 16 minutes for EF4 tornadoes. Even those who reached interior rooms were not guaranteed safety. Along Hensley's Drive, homes were completely destroyed. Roofs, walls, foundations all ripped apart by the relentless winds. Rescue teams later described the scene as a war zone, debris scattered across fields, personal belongings strewn far from homes, vehicles thrown hundreds of yards. Families were separated, homes obliterated, and communities left in shock. The memory of the 19 lives lost endures. At the corner of Hensley Drive and McBroom Chapel Road, Oak Park now stands a quiet place of remembrance built on the former Kimberlin family home. It honors the lives taken too soon and symbolizes the resilience that arose in the aftermath of tragedy. The Cookeville tornado stands as a stark reminder. Severe weather can strike silently. At night, when warnings are minimal and homes are vulnerable, its lessons from alert systems to structural design must guide preparation for future storms. The next nocturnal tornado is not a question of if, but when. Somewhere in another quiet town, lives will again depend on the warnings, the buildings, and the preparedness learned from Comelot, despite the devastation. The town responded with remarkable solidarity. Volunteers arrived by the hundreds, providing food, water, blankets, tools, and hope. Churches and schools became relief centers. Strangers embraced one another in grief and solidarity. First responders worked tirelessly through the night, navigating debris, blocked roads, and unstable structures to save lives. Sophie, reflecting on the events in both Nashville and Cookeville, realized the fragility of life against nature's raw power. The storm revealed the critical importance of awareness, preparedness, and community. The EF4 tornado had outrun the warning system. It moved faster than anyone could react, intensified within minutes, and struck when residents were most vulnerable asleep in their homes. Pressure changed instantly. Strange vibrations and a distant boom preceded the tornado's roar. A terrifying engine of destruction, unlike anything many had experienced. At 1:54 a.m., it reached western Cookeville. Homes were ripped apart, vehicles thrown, personal belongings scattered across yards and fields. Even when warnings were issued, the tornado had already claimed victims. In neighborhoods like Echo Valley, destruction peaked. Fields were stripped bare, wooden beams embedded in trees, vehicles disappeared. Multiple generations of families were wiped out within seconds. Minutes later, it weakened near Bloomington Springs, leaving behind debris and devastation. By 2:05 a.m., silence returned, but it was not peace. Shock, disbelief, and fear filled the air. Phones flickered with emergency alerts, survivors crawled through rubble, and first responders worked amid chaos. Fires burned from ruptured gas lines, and the scent of destruction lingered like a haunting memory. Funerals and memorials followed. Communities gathered to honor the 19 lives lost, candles lit, names read aloud. Each service asked the same haunting question: why was the warning too late? There is no simple answer. Night tornadoes are exceptionally dangerous, moving fast, striking silently, and evading detection. Cookeville became a case study in the unpredictability of nature. Yet the town endured. Volunteers and first responders provided immediate relief. Families found solace in neighbors. A community that faced unimaginable loss began to rebuild. The EF4 tornado that struck. Cookeville will be remembered not just for its speed, size, or destruction, but for the lives it touched, the lessons it left, and the warning it delivered too late. It was the tornado no one saw coming. The storm that outran every alert. The EF4 nightmare that struck silently in the dead of night. And the lesson is clear. Preparedness saves lives. Awareness is critical. And no quiet town is ever truly safe from the fury of nature. Cookeville remembers. Tennessee remembers. And the world must heed the warning.